Welcome to Unfiltered with Dave Letele, and today I sat down and had an awesome conversation with Lani Daniels. Lani's a good friend of mine, an old stablemate. I used to box for Rebel Liga, which is her boxing gym now. Her life raised in a large family of 9. Her father being a really hard worker, but being present, being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the values that instilled. But the battles she faced, she opened up about not wanting to be here anymore, and the times where it became not just the thought of it, but the planning of it, how she overcome that, and how she used boxing to regain control of her life. And now she's on the precipice of one of the biggest fights of her life. She's now fighting for the World Championship in a few weeks' time in Detroit. You are going to enjoy this. There's many gems, so many gems like all of our podcasts. So don't forget to like, comment, and share. Lani Daniels, enjoy. Before we get started, Unfiltered with Dave Letele is proudly part of the Acast network and produced by the amazing team at Fanaticals. This episode is brought to you by my good friends, Trust Motors. Now, they're an amazing company that support everything we do in the community. I've known them for a long time. So if you're looking for a new car, trading in your car, whatever the case may be sure to support those who support the community. Trust Motors, how car buying should be. Man, we have been blown away by the success so far of Unfiltered with Dave Letele. The response, the comments, the stories that are being told are absolutely amazing, and we feel really privileged to be able to bring you these conversations. They are so important. So if you think they're important just like us, we need your support via Patreon. So only if you're able to pay for this, please. If you can't, I don't want you to pay for it. Every single dollar helps. Every single dollar will go towards making these stories blow up like they should be. Mainstream media aren't telling these stories yet. These are the stories to me that need to be told and held up on a pedestal to inspire the world. So that's why we're bringing Patreon. That's why we're implementing this tool as a way that we can continue to tell these stories to the best of our ability. And we feel very privileged to be able to do this. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And let's go. Lani Daniels, kia ora, sis.
Kia ora, brother, kia ora.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. It's been an epic week.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, good.
And you're on stablemate, Rebel Liga. How's the Rebel going?
Oh, Rebel's good. He's keeps me honest, gets me up every day.
Yeah.
Keeps me busy.
Yeah. And you spend your camps there. I mean, you stay there.
Yeah, I'm pretty much his flatmate.
Yeah.
I live there.
Yeah.
I spend more time there than I do at home.
Yeah.
But I think with what I'm up to, I need to.
Yeah.
Especially with the type of person I am. I'm such a social butterfly.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And it's crazy, that gym. Like if you have it's one, and during the day it's a wood shop.
Yeah.
Then at night it transforms into a boxing gym.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty epic. I love it. I love our space, and it's like an all-in-one.
Yeah.
Could almost be a rest home too, because his mum comes down every day during the week.
Yeah.
And I'm like a waiter. I'd make her cuppas.
Yeah. Yeah, man, those are some great memories I had there. That's when his late father Dennis was there, so just some good memories far out. Savor. One advice I'd give you, sis, is savor all these memories and all these experiences. And even though the training's tough, man, because once years to come, you just be looking back, how amazing was that, Because
I remember this one memory of so when I first started staying there, I would only stay there the weekend, and it was when his dad was there.
Yeah.
And I could he'll just pop out and stuff, and I can remember it clear as this one time I could hear some noise while I was sleeping, and I kind of got a fright. I didn't realise how far, and he was like, I was talking to him about this noise that I was hearing when I was sleeping and stuff, and he was like, didn't you know we're right next to the zoo? So he was like blaming Dennis's sound effects on the zoo. I was like, I didn't realise we were that close. And he also, this other time, he had this pet hedgehog. And it woke me up in the middle of the night because it was like rattling in my bags. And I was like, what the heck? I thought it was a rat or a mice. And I was thinking, what? Climbed up on the couch and I like threw a pillow, but I knew it wasn't a rat because if I did that, it would have scuttled off.
Yeah.
And it just went quiet. And then after a little while, I heard it scavenging again.
Yeah.
And then I woke up and then I saw this slow hedgehog just creeping out. And then John goes and tells Dad that I saw a hedgehog. And he's like, yeah, I feed it.
Oh, rest in peace, Dad. I see you're a good man.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about the boxing and that journey. But, you know, this podcast, this is all about, you know, inspiring stories, and I only get people on that I actually want to talk to, that I find interesting and that have something to offer the listeners, you know, that hope and inspiration. And, you know, your journey is epic. So where did it start? Just where were you born? Up north?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in a small place called Pipiwai. It was pretty much my whole world till I went to high school. Come from a big family. I'm one of 9 children. Raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So every Sunday was church and still is to this day, as humbug as I am. Whenever I go home, that's the kaupapa. And Pipiwai is pretty much a Māori community, so everyone knows everyone. All my best friends to this day are my cousins that I grew up with, went to kohanga reo with, and then we graduated to our local school, Te Horo. Did my primary intermediate years there, and then it wasn't till I got to high school that I really got to see something else other than Pipiwai. Yeah. So my foundation growing years was Pipiwai through and through. Māori, church, and yeah, just good fun times.
Yeah, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, shout out to them. They are amazing, big supporters of the work we do.
Yeah.
If I was to ever get baptised, I said to them, if I ever get baptised, it'll be with this church.
Oh, that will make my dad happy.
Yeah.
So my dad's our branch president.
Oh, yes.
In our little congregation that we have out home.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we have. We have our school, our kohanga, our marae, and our chapel, and that makes up our valley.
Wow.
So the church has strong roots in our valley. And I think it's I'm pretty humbug these days. Like, I try to go to church as much as I can, and I think it's installed some pretty cool values and principles that in my life that I try to live by, but I am a bit humbug.
Yeah. The president asked me, "Oh, are you a member?" And I said, "No, I'm a free agent of God."
Yeah, that's what I am too.
Yeah, you're a free agent. You're with the people like Jesus. And just growing up with 9 siblings, you know, what was life like growing up?
Well, there's always a pecking order when the parents weren't there. There's whoever's the oldest was in charge. I eventually got my turn when all my older siblings shifted out. That was cool. And so my dad was a forestry contractor growing up. My dad was physically hard worker, and he provided very well for our family. But it was like, as hard as he worked, he was always there. Yeah. And then my mum was she would run our house and do what she can within our community. Growing up with heaps of kids sucked, I felt, because it was like you wanted everything, but money could only last. We weren't able to get all the flash things, but we got what we needed to get through. And we were always treated special. So on our birthday or Christmas, our parents will make us feel special, and we'll get like sneaky. Like if we go to town, they won't take us all. They'll only take a couple, and we'll get spoiled when we're away. So we used to want to go with our parents for holdouts.
And you're talking about your dad, working really hard, which is, I think, as a man, you want to provide.
Yeah.
But the cool thing of what you said is that he was still there.
Yeah.
How important was that for you?
For someone who worked so hard and provided for our family, it surprises me how much he was still there. So, with my mum and dad, the church is very important for them. So Sundays was always a family, and we'll always go to church together as a family. but also sports growing up. That was probably the other thing that would do in the valley, was have twilight sports and things like that. So my parents were always involved helping there as well.
What values that you talked about the values and I always talk about these seeds that were planted. Like I was raised Seventh-day Adventist by my Samoan grandparents. Seventh-day Adventist, have you heard of that religion?
Yeah.
It's very strict. And I always say if you add Samoan to it, it's about 1,000 million times stricter. Actually, back in those days, the deacons were like bouncers. It was Church of Mount Druitt, and they were strict. If they caught you outside when you were meant to be in service, they just break a brown trough and try and whip you. It was intense. It actually drove me away from the church.
Yeah.
But eventually, with what I'm doing now, I always think like, man, that's those seeds that were planted not by the church but by my grandparents, the faith. It's like it's come back now. It's all the term of helping others, serving others. What do you think about what values were instilled in you?
I think it's pretty much the same. Like I think tika pono aroha, so love one another. And my dad, he showed us that very well. Like he didn't only love his own family, but he loved our wider family, and he'll do anything for anybody. He'll give us his last penny to help somebody else. My dad's a real giving, helpful guy. So much so it used to cause a bit of conflict between my mum, because my mum would want her roof fixed, but my dad's down the road putting somebody else's tank up.
Yeah.
And my mum would get hoha, but then she'll have to she knows why he's doing what he's doing, I think, and have her little tiff, but get over it. Yeah. I think being honest, true, sticking to your word.
Having those, I mean, you got a solid, foundation there, with your family. I mean, how important has that been with what you're doing now with your boxing?
Well, there's a scripture that I was brought up with, and it's I can't remember where it's found, but it's train up a child in a way he should go, and he shall not depart from it. And it's one thing that always sticks with me, is I'm grateful for my upbringing, because it's prepared me for life with the challenges that we face, not only in the ring. Like I think the ring's another build on from that, but I think a lot of what my parents and them tried to instill in us as children, I'm only making sense of it now, as you mentioned. It's like it's all starting to click.
Yeah.
But yeah, like hard work, like with my cousins having lots of kids, we always had to play outside. But before we could play, growing up, we were self-sustained pretty much as a whānau. Like we'd kill our own cows, have our own vegetable crops, and I mean like gardens that were football field longs. And before we could play with our cousins, we'd have to go and dig up a row of potatoes.
Yeah.
Like that was just the norm, and we used to hate it and like cry and moan and I can't wait to leave here because we don't have to go do the garden. But we were always doing something before we were rewarded and able to have our time. And like we had quite firm boundaries. Like whenever I was being sneaky or something, even when it was like dabbling on the side of the law, with police or whatever, it wasn't the police I was scared of, it was my parents. Like it was like I didn't care about teachers or getting in trouble from anybody else, but I knew that when I got home I was going to get pulled up for it. And that was one thing with my parents. If we did something wrong, they would make us front it. Which I hated, so I tried not to get caught.
So you got up to a little bit of mischief?
Especially like in my teenage years. Like I think I really struggled through my teenage years, but gratefully my upbringing and stuff was solid enough to get me through those years.
What were those struggles? So you're at high school at this time, you're talking high school years?
My high school years. So when I was third form, halfway through the year, my little brother Tuka was diagnosed with leukemia. and he was 11 at the time, and I was 13, going on 14. And it just shook my world. Like, that was the first life challenge, adversity that I'd ever faced. So, I really struggled with it. Just everything about it. At that time of my life, you know, being an adolescent, it's me, myself, and I. But it was all about my brother. So parts of me was jealous I didn't have cancer, which is weird to think about.
But that's how away.
But that's how I felt at the time, because he was getting quite pampered. Like, my parents were with him down in Starship.
Yeah.
He got what is it? I Have a Dream. He got a free wish. You know, and he got a motorbike, telescope. And he was quite sport. Like, people would come and be giving things, and I'd like be quite jealous. And I'd be like, oh. And then my parents would be quite grouchy and snappy, like, and me at that age, I didn't realise what they were going through as parents looking after their son that's on his deathbed, pretty much. So now that I'm older, I understand it a lot better, but at the time, I really struggled with it, and for me, it was just numbing it all. I didn't care about anything, so it was pretty much who I surrounded myself with was the direction my life was going. And at that stage, being a teenager, I was quite curious in terms of, like, alcohol, drugs, weed. And so that was my past. Like, it's like, yes, I can give it a go now, especially being brought up in the church where all those stuff wasn't in my home. I was never around parties, never around people drinking alcohol, didn't see weed till I was, like, at high school. So all of that, I was quite sheltered from that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But then I had an excuse when my brother got sick, and I took it with both hands, and it just led me down a
So was there
spiral.
like resentment there with the attention your brother was getting, which you didn't really understand?
I think there was just so many emotions that I, at that stage of my life, wasn't able to unpack, and I couldn't talk, so I avoided it and blocked it out, because every time I try to say something or mention his name or bring it up or try to talk about my feelings, I'd break down and cry. So for me, I didn't want that attention, or that's what I felt like at the time. So I just pushed it down and got stoned this one time, and it just made me feel so good. And I was like, I like this. It's going to make me feel like this. But then that became the drive, as I needed more. And then the alcohol. But then with that, getting into it harder and deeper, problems started to follow, as it does with that lifestyle. And I ended up doing it for like 10 years.
Shit.
10 years. I ended up getting DIC twice, which didn't help my case in terms of how I felt with the confidence that I had, because I pretty much had nothing. And I was playing out to be that Māori statistic, starting to slowly tick all those boxes that was going to wind me up and worry.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
You're on your way down that spiral.
Yeah, and especially when I got the criminal convictions, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, no one's ever going to hire me now. How am I going to get a job? And I used to tell myself that all the time, and it just got to the point where I burnt all my bridges because of how down in the dumps I felt.
How bad did it get in that life when you those 10 years? How bad did it get?
Well, I didn't want to be here, like, but it wasn't to the point where I actively went out to try to do something. It was probably by accident that I wouldn't have been here, because I would just get so thinged off my face that I wasn't here. But then again, that grounding from a kid, like when I hit rock bottom, like I was living at Hamilton at the time, about 19, I just called my parents, and my mum would just come straight down and pick me up, took me home, and spent a few months back home grounding myself.
What was the rock bottom, sis? What was the moment? What happened? Or the realisation?
I just felt like a loser, like I had nothing, like, what am I doing? Like, I felt like I lost hope. Like, I started not going to work, no income. I wasn't able to support my habits at the time. I was burning bridges with my friends, and it wasn't their fault. It was the way I was feeling, and I was just projecting that onto them. And it just felt like I didn't want to be here, and it scared me.
Yeah.
Because I loved my family so much, I couldn't do that to them. But yeah, just call my mum. She come down straight away, picked me up, and then refueled myself, filled up my cup. Then I thought I was tough again, go out into the world, and then I'd hit the wall again. And it was because I didn't learn from that it was the alcohol and the drugs. Like, it took so long for me to click.
Yeah.
And I think the rock bottom I had signed up to do nursing because I lost my job and I needed an income. And it was either the benefits or study link. With the benefit, I had to go to course, do these seminars, and I was quite embarrassed to do that.
Yeah.
And so the studying was the easiest option. So I thought, okay, yeah. And it wasn't to study as such because I didn't think I would pass. So I just did that because it clocked me over for another 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I failed my first semester, and that was where it clicked. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a loser. I'm not going to be worth, like, I just felt like I was hopeless, nothing. And if I really wanted to do something, I needed to make changes. And I think from there I started surrounding myself around different people. So in my class at school, I started hanging out with the churchy girl.
Yeah.
We had quite a few members from the church there, but I didn't want to hang around with them because that was my background and I felt like I would get judged. So I chose this random ass church. She was like a born-again Christian church. And I started hanging out with her, stopped drinking, stopped doing drugs, and started putting in the effort there. And then my sister did a boxing charity fight night for Canteen. And then I saw the positive effects it had in her life, and I wanted some of it, and that's how I got into the whole boxing.
Far out. And so your sister did boxing. I mean, I guess like me, I got into boxing to turn my life around.
Yeah.
Is that what it did for your sister?
Yeah, because like we're quite big people, like, and it's all like Kai is just so blessed with so much Kai. So my sister was quite overweight, and at the time I'm talking, I was probably 110 kgs.
Jeez.
Yeah, so, and my sister was bigger than me, so she did it, and she just had this natural glow about her. My sister was nursing at the time, so it was a fight night between the nurses the staff at Henry Bennett, the staff at Waikeria Prison, and the police, and she popped her hand up, and she was just way happier. If you know my sister, she's quite grumpy. So to see her happy, I was like, it must be good. And she ended up inviting me to come along to her one-on-one sessions with her coach. And I said, I don't really want to go yet. And so she signed me up at a private gym where we would go together, and I lost 10 kgs. I didn't want to go to him till I was under 100, so I lost 10 kgs. And then we started boxing together there, and then it just grew from there pretty much.
When did you meet the rebel, John Conway?
I met him at one of my fights. So a mutual friend at the time so me and my sister used to wrap our own hands when I turned pro, and we just used to coach each other, copy YouTube and do our own hands. And Lance Rebel, who was actually Rebel's coach, was reffing the fight, and he told me he had to rewrap one of my hands because he said it wasn't done properly.
Yeah.
And he said that I needed to look after my hands because they're gold. And so I was thinking, dang it, what am I going to do? And I was like just talking to my group. And a friend said, oh yeah, I know this guy. He's going to be working reffing the night that you're fighting. I'll ask him. And I was like, I hate being a hoha.
Yeah.
Like, I hate nagging people to do stuff for me. I just rather I don't want to be a pain. And I was like, nah, just leave it. And lucky she's the type of person who doesn't just carry on nagging. And she kept messaging Rebel agreed to it. And he ended up coming down to wrap my hands in the changing rooms. And then I just asked him, do you want to be in the corner?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah. But we didn't know what we were up to. We just turned up to fight. We had no ice, no bucket, just our gloves and mouth guard, and we're good. No water bottle. So he ended up jumping in the corner to help out, and I ended up losing that fight. But he says he saw something that, considering I was just doing my own stuff, he saw potential, and he just nurtured it pretty much from there. He just flicked the odd message, invited me to the gym, pop in, and it led to the random pop-ins, to fortnightly visits, to staying the weekend, to living there.
You'd come from up north to train there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember John, he saw something in me too. He saw me getting hit in the head too much. He reached out to me and he was worried, and he goes, "You're taking far too many punches to the head.
Yeah.
Let me help you." Said, yeah.
That's funny.
My style was block with my head.
Well, he told me that he reckons I reminded him of himself.
Oh.
But it's funny because I've had a few other people say that as well, is that he's taught me to fight like him.
Yeah.
But he reckons that he saw it that night.
Yeah,
So that's quite
cool,
funny.
man. Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better person to be in your corner.
Yeah.
What does he mean to you?
I rank him up there highly. He means heaps. Yeah, I actually love him and I'll do anything for him, which I know he would for me, and he's proved that time and time again. Yeah, I think this relationship that we have is quite special, and I actually think it's a superpower going into my next fight, and is going to be a huge factor as why we win it.
Yeah. Well, you got this big fight coming up. You want to talk to us about that, sis?
Yeah. I don't even know how to say it. Yeah, I've got the fight that we've been wanting for a very long time. The last 2 years we've been making a bit of noise after every fight on the fight that we want. And yeah, I'm just excited that we got it.
Yeah. Well, let us know.
Yeah, with the GOAT, the self-proclaimed GOAT. So I'll be fighting Claressa Shields.
Wow.
Yeah, Rebel actually asked, we were talking about it this morning, and he was like the excitement and stuff, and I was thinking, I'm not that excited, to be honest, because I feel like this is what we've been working towards. It's not a shock, where if it was somebody else, and I would be like, oh my gosh, so cool, I would feel more excited for them.
Yep.
It's a weird feeling here. It's a weird, but I am excited, and yeah.
I think as it gets closer, when is it and where is it?
So it's in July, July the 26th, and it's over in Detroit.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And I think one of the biggest things I'm mostly excited about is I get to go over business class.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and I was thinking, that's one of my, I have a list, a to-do bucket list, and that's one of my things is to fly somewhere business class, even
And
if
it's a long trip too.
Yeah.
It's a long trip over there,
I
so
was
you really
thinking,
get to enjoy
holy
it.
heck, this is like a dream country.
Don't eat anything before you go on the plane. Make sure you go on hungry so
You can eat up.
take full advantage.
Is it like a buffet?
Oh, you can pretty much, it's just constant.
Yeah.
And you can ask, the hard thing is, sis, the hard thing is that,
Going back?
it's, when you go on the plane and turn left, it's very hard to turn right. Yeah. So, but in one way though, it motivates you to say, I gotta keep doing these things, keep winning, so that, this is just the way you fly now.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Somebody told me that too. It's
It does,
the
it
tough
motivates
thing-
you.
Yeah, the tough thing is going back to economy. And I was thinking, but for me, because I'm the only one in the team that gets to go over in business, so Rebel has to sit in economy. But that's what I was thinking is yeah, that's motivation. Get him up there with me so he can be like, so I can have a friend.
Well, when you're the champ, those are just in your stipulations.
Yeah.
Detroit, July. All right, well, maybe Unfiltered needs to. I think we need to do something over there. Be a business trip.
Yeah, business trip. That'll be
can
perfect.
Go into sports commentary. What's been the biggest thing you've learned through all this journey of getting through those tough times? Addiction is a massive issue. Every negative stat our Māori people are overrepresented in. How did you get yourself out? And how can others do the same if they're right now going through similar things?
Yeah. That's a tough question and something I ponder every day. But for me, I think a huge thing is my whānau. And it's not just my bloodline. It's my Rebel League whānau, BBM whānau. It's, I think, surrounding myself around that people, the right people, positive people, because especially with my nature, because I tend to just go with the flow with whatever's going. And so if it's not going so good, so am I. So I need to stay with people that are solid to the kaupapa and stick with them. Otherwise, I feel like I'm a drifter.
Yeah.
So even with the whole reason why I'm living here is I can't even go home for a weekend without getting up to mischief in terms of just eating what I'm supposed to be eating.
Yeah.
On the way home, I'll probably be driving through a drive-through. like the struggle's that real. It's like I'll spend the weekend with my whānau at a hotel, and I can tell the difference it has when I get back the Monday ready to do what I have to do, because it's such a demanding job.
Yeah.
Such a demanding job. And it's just because I was still training over the weekend when I'm staying with them, I get more temptations not to do what I need to be doing. Like that extra, all I have to do at the gym is put my feet on the ground. And I'm away, where I've got to get in a car, put on my seatbelt, drive to get there before I even start the work.
Yeah.
And so, and I feel like I'm such a lazy person. But then my strength, I try to look at it, is I put strategies in place. So
to combat that.
Yeah, to combat it. So for me, my combat for that, or my move or strategy, is to just live in it.
Yeah. That's it.
Otherwise, And I couldn't have a better drill sergeant than Rebel. He keeps me honest.
I miss those days. I didn't miss it at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't miss boxing. I don't miss that. I miss the camaraderie, training every day with, being around Rebel, being around Mark, and having the team, running a muck at weigh-ins. It was so funny. The funny thing is because John, he's a referee, he's top referee over here, and here we are practicing all these illegal moves. And towards the end of my career, I wouldn't go to weigh-ins unless they paid me more.
Yeah.
Here's my weight. If you want me to weigh in at your weigh-in, I want this amount. Like John's going, yeah, you tell him. We're not turning up there unless they pay us more. The funniest one was the funniest fight I've ever been in. Hawera. And we were coming out, and because we didn't just fight on big cards, we fought anywhere because I needed money to eat. This was my fighting to live, same as you, and we were walking out, and the organisers came in, no, our fucking music's on. No, go back in, we've run out of alcohol. We've got to go take a trip to the bottle-o first.
Wait.
So we've done that fight and quickly got the fuck out of there because it was. But that's why I say to you, I really just embrace every moment, because it's just it is only a short period of your life.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that and how I'm coming to the end of it. Like, I don't see myself living this way for too much longer. Like last April, I told Rebel that we've got 2 years 2 years to get the jackpot in terms of Claressa Shields, the Savannah Marshalls. Like, that's what I said, and I wrote it down. I was like, April 2026, I'm out, I'm done. Because there's other things that I want to do in life, and I can't do it while I'm doing this because it needs my utmost attention.
Yeah.
And
How are you feeling going into this fight?
I'm feeling good. Because I was supposed to fight in May, so I feel like I'm fit to go, and I'm in a blessed position to be able to work on my opponent and what I need to do to beat her.
Yeah.
So we can go more specifics, because it's not like it was in the past, just the fat camp.
Yeah.
Because I'd go away, eat up,
It's
come
a big
back.
weight loss camp.
And pretty much my whole boxing career has been a weight loss camp and a weight loss management. Yeah. So when I first come back those 2 years ago, 3 years now, my goal wasn't to be a world champion. I thought that ship had long sailed. My goal was to fit my fight shorts again.
Yeah.
So when I had my big break before I come back, I fought at 72 kgs, and then I just went AWOL.
Yeah, let's talk about that AWOL, because I was still training with John there. John still trains at our gym, does our classes, which you help down there. And you did get you were gone missing for a while.
Yeah, I just fell off the face of the earth, and I think that was a huge struggle in my life, because I felt like I let him down. So it come on the back of a loss. So I lost my first world title fight against Giovanna Perez.
Yes, sir.
And then I fought not long after, and I got a draw, and then I fought again and I got a draw. And then I think with all of those fights, I had the potential to win, but I wasn't living the blueprint. Like, I was like,
we're all in.
I wasn't all in. I was working full-time as a registered nurse with our most vulnerable, but then I was living like all these separate lives. Like, in order to help myself cope, I was going back to my bad habits, because I felt overwhelmed by everything. And then my habits got the better of me. And then we were hit by lockdown, which fueled it, because I was able to do my mahi from home and drink alcohol. And John used to message me all the time, and I just would get anxiety and just hide my phone because I didn't want to see it. And I would just hide, avoid, and these are the behaviours that I used to do around the time my brother passed away. So it was what the hell? I was reverting back to that. And it was embarrassing. I was embarrassed. And then it was okay, I need to go back, and I knew I needed to go back, but then I was shamed because I had put on all this weight, and I was over 100 kgs again. And I couldn't fit my fight shorts. So I was like, that's so embarrassing. He put all this hard mahi into me for me to just go back and do this and slap him in the face.
Yeah.
So a huge part of that was the shame and the guilt and living like a double life lie.
How did you overcome that, sister, to walk through the doors again? Because so many of us go through that, living with the guilt.
Yeah.
Whakamā.
To be honest, in terms of the time with my brother was tough, but that was tough where I felt like I started getting thoughts I didn't want to be here, but it started to be a bit more planning, like what I was going to do and sorting my life out so that it wouldn't be so bad on everybody else. And when I caught myself, and I think I was quite blessed because I work with youth in mental health, and so I was saying it on the daily, going through coping strategies and distress tolerance skills. And so I was doing it for myself, but it scared me when I got those thoughts. And
plan.
Yeah.
So
was
that when your brother passed, you were going through those thoughts?
Not this bad. With my brother, it was more like I didn't want to be here, but it wasn't to the extent that I would hurt myself. Where this time round it was there, but they were thoughts only. And it scared me because of the nature of my job. Like I do risk assessments on whānau, and these are the things I'm looking out for. And it gave me a huge shock, like, oh my gosh. So for me to get out of it, I actually called the doctor and I got put on medication. Well, I asked to be put on medication because it just felt so overwhelming that I just couldn't function.
Yeah.
And I know medication, it's not a magic pill, but for me at that space in my life, it worked. And I think for that period of time, I needed it. Like I needed it, and it gave me more understanding for the mahi that I do outside of boxing because I've been there where, oftentimes people being a nurse, you just think, oh, you don't really know.
It's just...
Yeah, but I think I stayed on them for about 18 months and then I started feeling stronger. I built up the courage and, I think about a year I was on it and I built up the courage and I started feeling myself again and I made contact with Rebel and we had an opportunity to fight on Joseph Parker and Junior Far's undercard.
Yes.
And that's what pulled me back in.
We had Philly on there too.
Yeah, so me and him did fight camp together. And so that's what actually pulled me back into the mix again. And I'm grateful, although I didn't end up getting the fight. I remember on the way to BBM out west at the old place for the weigh-in. And we got a phone call on the way to say that the fight was off. And the team was all gutted and that, but just quietly I wasn't, because I felt like I had gained so much from being back in camp. I lost heaps of weight and I was feeling good and confident about myself. And I think I've always thought if one door closes, another's going to open. And 2 years on, I ended up fighting the same girl for my first world title. So it was just, I needed to just stay the course.
God's plan. And I think it really, hearing what you're going through, and it would have been so hard because you're trying to help the youth, and then you're hearing all these stories, which actually you take that on, so that weighs on your vital, and you're hearing all these things, and it's, oh man, this is me too.
Yeah.
I think that coming back, I think it was a big, it could have saved your life. I think,
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think I was, like you say, God's plan. Like I think working with our youth, like it was all coincidental, me being in mental health, working with our youth. It was all just by chance that I fell into that line of mahi, because my mum and my sister are mental health nurses and it was the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted to just work at a rest home with our older people.
Yeah.
So I was quite close with my nan and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with our old people and, just the way life went, I just sailed into it and had opportunities where I didn't really have to go too much and it just kind of fell in my lap. But then working with our youth, what you see is what you get with them. And they allowed me to be me, so I'm so grateful to all the kids that have helped me help them, because they don't realise how much they actually helped me at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing with kids, they're honest.
Yeah, what you see is what you get, and but I had so much fun and I loved the mahi, and so much of my mahi I incorporated the boxing stuff because kids love boxing.
Yeah.
They love it, and it's like with the mental side of the game, that's what just kept drawing me back to it.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah.
To being, so I think the difference between good and great is being strong up here, eh?
Yeah.
The resilience. The thing is this, people throw around that word resilience. So at all these conferences I was speaking at, they're always speaking on resilience and all these things. The only way you can be resilient is you have to go through some fucking shit. You have to go through tough times to be resilient. You can't. It's not something you can buy.
Yeah.
It's not a commodity. And that's why you're so strong, because you have gone through these tough times. And it builds that, each time builds that resilience up. And then you apply that into the way you train and all the way that John seeds these things into you while you're training. You don't even know it.
Yeah.
It's all these messages that while your guard's down, you're totally fucked.
Yeah,
and it's just seeding.
And that was one of the first things he ever told me when I first started to train with him, is he would share all this knowledge with me. And it was like almost frustration in him explaining it to me, because he goes, you won't know now, but in time you will. And I've had so many light bulb moments where things he has said to me, taught me, just clicked like, aha, that's what he was talking about. So many, like just too many to even recall any. Like it's just, I've had so many of those moments, and I think that's what fuels that love that I have for him, because I do think he's been such a huge role. And I think our relationship was meant to be. I think he was supposed to be by my side in terms of getting me to where I am now, especially with the politics and boxing. I never wanted to box again before I went pro. It was just got so messy. Like got pulled from the New Zealand team as an amateur, and it really hit me. Like I went to court.
Went to court?
Yeah, I had to go to court, like, because the association that I was at the time sponsored me. They gave our boxers some money to go and rep New Zealand over in Serbia in 2016.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yes, like, bless, thank you, because it's all self-funded, so we had to fundraise our money to get over there. And there was about 10 of us that went. Out of all of those girls that went, I was the only one that got matched on a Sunday. And my kaupapa was, I'm never fighting on a Sunday, as humbug and stuff as I am when it comes to the church. That's my kaupapa, and I'm not going to do it. And it's always been. So like at the Golden Gloves, our coach will organise for our fights to be on the Saturday, the last fight, because the finals were on the Sunday. Our training camps, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I wouldn't train the Sunday. Even now with Rebel, and that was a kaupapa he's always respected of mine, is Sundays are my rest days, and that's the one day he can't tell me what to do. Get you out of stairs. I think so, just quietly.
The dreaded fucking stair workout.
Yeah, so that's why you don't see me at the Trust Stadium on the Sunday, is because it's my rest day.
I was never not allowed to go to those stair sessions.
Yeah, and so... and I pretty much got given the ultimatum at the time, is either you fight or you're not allowed to go to the World, which my goal at that time was to go to the Olympics. And I thought, oh, well, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I didn't fight. And then anyways, because I didn't fight, the association wanted their money back. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll just give it back. But my sister... the lawyer in her was like, no, they can't do it. And then I was like, no, because I don't like the conflicts. I was like, just pay it and just let it be done. Like, who cares? Just give the money back. And my sister's like, no. Anyways, we ended up having to go to court for it, and we ended up winning the case. So
good on you.
So that was pretty good. Then that's one thing I'm blessed for my sister, like, have strong people around me, because I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to all of that stuff. But I am getting stronger.
Yeah. It's good you just you don't need to, you put people in place that can handle all that stuff. Your job's fighting.
So with Rebel, man, he knows my worth, and I think that's been a real important thing over the last few years. Is he treats me like a world champion, because there is that, with the boxing, the women aren't treated as good as men. But it is getting better. And it doesn't matter with him. He holds me up here, and he demands that respect. And sometimes I get a bit shame, like, oh, Rebel, it's all right. No, would they be doing it? So he's forever reminding me who I am and what I've done, and that's the type of people I need around me so that I can be that person.
Yeah, good on you, sis. Yeah, he's good. I remember, Dave, they asked me, so you're the butterbean. I said, yeah, that's right. I fucking am the butterbean. I don't do shit.
I find myself doing that too, like, yeah, I'm the champ.
Were you a fan of, I ask a lot of people who are boxers, did you like the butterbean?
Yeah, I thought he was funny. Like, I liked the entertainment. I actually wished I could be more like him.
Oh,
Like with my persona, because I'm such a like.
oh, yeah. People have asked me that before. You
I
know,
wish
how do
I
I be?
could be more like talk it up.
People ask me that. They've asked me, so how can I want to, you know, how you talked it up and all sorts of stuff. You just got to be yourself.
Yeah.
I think just having the confidence to be yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like not having the like. I did that shit because I wasn't a very good boxer, but I tried really hard. But it's like you know, it's just being confident. If you think you can beat that person, then say it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like so no.
And that's how I feel with my next fight. I honestly believe that I can beat her. And it's something that I've been speaking with Rebel about, is like, because she's up here, I'm going to have to deal with all of people's, like, they're like, ooh, like their reactions, and I'm going to see it in their body language. And I already have, like, the doubt. I'm going to feel everybody else's doubt, and I've just got to put on my arm and ching, just block it all off.
Or just, I remember it's just using it as fuel. You know, back in the days when I had so many haters and people just talking shit about me, I'd say, I'll fucking show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I can do. You know, and we did all right. But so what would you say to, you know, just last few questions, you know, what would you say to, you know, there's times where you were questioning being here. What would you say to yourself now if you could go back in time? What would you say to that?
Don't quit. Like, there's always sun at the end of the storm. Yeah.
That's a message for everyone, going through those. Because sometimes you can just be surrounded by darkness. That's what it seems like, There's just no light anywhere.
Yeah, and I think the huge one is that shame and guilt and not worthy.
What's a question that I ask everyone that comes on? You know, through the tough times they've been through, but, you know, and also using it to drive you to where you want to be now. What's your why and your purpose?
I knew you were going to ask this, so I've been thinking about it all week. I reckon it's such a deep question, but it's such a simple, easy question for me, and I think it's my whānau. And in that, whānau is me. And my why for what I'm doing now is so that I can be a better member of that whānau. So I want to be the best version of myself so that I can go back to my whānau, my people, and give my all to help them do whatever it is that they want to do. Yeah.
Powerful, sis. Powerful stuff. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to Detroit.
Yeah, let's go Detroit.
We're going there.
Eminem.
Yeah.
We might meet him.
They're cool. No, I'm going. Yes. Kareem, when you're watching this,
Yeah,
we're
well,
going.
Butterbean will be there on my shorts if you decide if something else pops up anyways.
No, 100%.
And I'm so grateful for all the support, Tautoko, that you've done.
Long may continue, sis. We'll keep sponsoring. No stress at all. But thank you so much. All the best on the fight, and we'll see you over there.
Choice. Thank you.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for the support. It really does mean so much to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment on our videos, and share this out. These stories are so inspiring, and they need to be heard by everyone. Thank you so much, team.